And we are live on the wrong screen. Welcome to the process. It is Tuesday, November 15th. I am Josh Engleman. I am here to break down a 5-game NBA slate. Very manageable Tuesday for today. So if you are here, and I do see quite a nice crew here to start off the day, good morning. Good morning to everybody that is here. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman, which is sort of on the screen right now, but not totally. You'll see it later. Awful night last night. When you take your biggest stand on Giannis and he provides his literal floor game, it doesn't go well. Giannis, not typically a 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy, but that is what we got out of him yesterday. That is about as bad of a per minute performance you can get out of Giannis. It's probably like the fourth or fifth time in this season where my most exposed player is likely the worst play of the day. I didn't actually look at it to confirm it, but it feels like that's the case. Makes the most sense that it is. Brutal. Just absolutely brutal. Should I check it quickly? I probably should, right? Let's check it. Let's see who the worst play of the slate was yesterday. I think it was Giannis off the top of my head. Just because of the salary. And I'm talking about FanDuel here, because on DraftKings I wouldn't have had nearly as much. The FanDuel salary was perfect. Let's see. I'm going to bring it back to that screen we started with. Let's say I open up a new tab and we grab... Can I copy that? That'd be a lot cooler if I could. Let's grab the contest data for yesterday. I didn't even have to open a new tab. See, I could have just done this right out of the gate. We'll get to cheers in a second, guys, but I want to see if I'm right. Did I get the ass end of Giannis last night as the worst possible play? So, target score based on salary. Is going to be... We're going to do something like this. That's the target score for everybody. Which means that their actual fantasy points minus their target will let you know how bad they were. And I'm not confident here that this is going to go well for me and for Giannis. Nope, that's the wrong one. We're going to do that one. And then we're going to say that the worst plays, we're going to say that we're going to only count people that were owned more than 1% of the time, because I don't think that it makes sense to say that we should be looking at anybody other than that. So, worst plays from yesterday. All right, so Paolo Banchero doesn't count. Trey Jones doesn't count. Gary Trent, Klay Thompson, none of those guys count. Okay, so Steph was worse, actually. That's interesting to see. Steph was worse at 10,600, 31 fantasy points. That makes sense, though. Ty Jerome shouldn't be there. Who are these 0.0 ownership guys? Yeah, let's get rid of everything. Everybody under 1%. Go away. Everybody under 1% shouldn't count. Worst plays of yesterday. Otto Porter, Steph Curry, Devin Vassell, Eric Gordon, Giannis. I had a lot of Otto Porter, had a lot of Giannis. That didn't help. 83% Giannis. That's what killed me. Had a bunch of Keldon, too. Thought the Giannis game was going to be worse than that. Now, look, there's only 3 points different between Giannis and Steph. They both equally destroyed you. 52% owned Giannis as well. It's like, it's not like I'm the only one that had Giannis. Boy, oh boy, did he suck. Delano Banton, on the other hand, there's your number one play from yesterday. Very good. 20 points above his boom. Went for 50 real fantasy points. Yuck. Jordan Poole, second guy. Not a guy that I was getting to a lot of. So, adios Monday, on to Tuesday. Yeah, Ship My Money should have won on DraftKings too. It's a shame. It is a shame. But for now, we move on to the normal conversation for Tuesday. A reminder, there is no process show tomorrow. There is no contender show for tomorrow. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. You're getting nothing from me tomorrow. So if you got your eyes out for content, you can close them. Watch the rest of the stuff that shows up on the channel, but I will not be around. Anyway, let's get into it. I got a coffee. I certainly need it today. I'm tired. Yesterday sucked. Just terrible fantasy day all around. Hoping I can play today. We'll see. But anyway, if you got your coffee, please join me in a cheers. Coffee, tea, water, beer, whatever you got. I don't even know what you could have today. Mountain Dew. Get it started with some nuclear horse piss. That's where it's at, right, everybody? Rise and grind. That's what we're talking about. Cheers, guys. Thank you for being here this lovely morning. Let's destroy a Tuesday. Crispy, thank you. We'll be back tomorrow. What will also be back tomorrow, at least I hope, is this ad for BetMGM. They are the sponsor of this video. If you click the link in the description of this video and follow the instructions that you see, make a deposit, make a qualified bet. It's all very minimal. You will get up to a $1,000 risk-free bet along with 2 free months of Stokastic plus Platinum. I don't think you're going to find a better deal elsewhere. I mean, the $1,000 risk-free bet is exceptional. 2 free months is exceptional. You would think just getting one of those two would be what you want. You get them both. So please take advantage. If you're in a legal betting state and you haven't signed up at BetMGM yet, that is what you want. Ooh, Calvin, coffee cake would be, I won't be mad about that. I might actually go do that after this show. But let's get into it. 5 games, easy slate to break down. Let's change up these views and let's do it. Bang, bang. There we go. First game up on the docket. And remember, guys, hit that like button. First game up. Coffee's hitting the spot. Memphis Grizzlies, 2-point dogs in New Orleans. 229 total. We've got Ja Morant off the injury report, which is great to see. Unfortunately, Desmond Bane is still doubtful. And the reason that's unfortunate is because Jaren Jackson Jr. is back. He is probable for today. Memphis defense about to improve pretty dramatically. Great to see him back. We got to start this Memphis rotation over from scratch because we need to get Ja back in there. And we need to get Jaren Jackson's minutes in there. So, and we have to assume that he's going to be limited for a bit. Bulldogger. All right, I'm going to say one thing about this. 2 parts. 1, never going to be an MMA process show. The more likely scenario is that I never play MMA DFS again. I don't have any interest in late swapping after every fight. That said, don't be surprised if you see the Stokastic MMA product improve. If you are willing to put in the work of making changes at the end of every single fight based on updated information, this is a gigantic benefit to you. MMA just got better for anybody that wants to do more work. I don't want to do more work, therefore they ruin the product for me. But if you are an MMA DFS fan and you like you are going to be around and pay attention and you don't get hammered for every UFC, you're in good shape because you're going to be able to make some changes on the late night that will greatly improve your chances of winning any sort of money. No, Brandon, I do not want to set up my computer for 8 hours on a Saturday, particularly when it's hard enough for me to stay up late for those cards. The chances of me falling asleep during parts of it are problematic. All right, here we go. We're going to do Ja Morant in for 33 minutes. Tyus straight back up. That one's just pretty easy. We have to assume that Jaren Jackson is going to be limited. Figuring this is going to be a decent day for Dylan Brooks as well. We're going to get John Conchar in for 30. Feels about right? 31. We'll 30. We'll get Dylan Brooks in for, he's basically playing 30 a game. Averaging 31. We'll go 31. This is where it starts to get interesting. So Steven Adams playing about 27 minutes a game. We're going to keep that. And then we need to work Jaren Jackson Jr. in. I'm going to assume that he comes off the bench. I do not know that for sure. But I'm going to assume he comes off the bench. I'm going to give him 20 minutes. I'm going to give Santi Aldama 28 minutes. We're going to give Brandon Clark. What have they been doing there? Because they're not playing every single center minute with either Clark or Adams. They are leaving a couple minutes on the table there. Which I guess ends up being like Aldama or some other random little dude. So I'm going to go 19 to Brandon Clark. Then the rest of this should just sort of make itself. Give David Roddy 19 minutes. We'll give Tyus another 4. And I got to give 14 to somebody random. Who is that random person? Jake LaRavia. Done. Done. Easy. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Santi Aldama's minutes come down. I just don't know if that's going to be the case quite yet. I actually probably have him over projected already. Let's go to 26. That'll allow us to go up to 16 on LaRavia. Now, let's take a look at rates, because we need to know what this looks like when Desmond Bane is off. I don't know how big of a sample we're going to have of this. My guess is not big. Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr. We're going to look since last year. So we get Jackson, Morant, and where is he hiding? The problem is Dylan Brooks and Ja Morant did not play a ton of games together last year. Like the crossover on those three guys is so oddly small that I think this sample is going to be like non-existent. Okay, so since last year, only 151 minutes for Brooks when Morant and Jaren Jackson play and Dylan Brooks is off. 29% usage rate there out of Brooks. For Morant, he's only played 91 minutes in this case, 32% usage rate. So, you know, we're keeping the same basic rates for Morant, but we're jacking up the usage on Dylan Brooks. I don't care too much about the assist rate for Tyus or for Brooks. Jaren Jackson has a 27% usage rate in these times. So I do think he's going to try to get his shots. But the rest of this should be all pretty cut and dry. It's just going to be giant usage hits for everybody else. We'll look at the Pelicans side. I like that rotation. I don't know what we're going to see for Memphis. I have no idea what their pricing looks like. Let's look at the Pels now. Q tag on Zion. Everybody else available. Obviously, we're just leaving Zion in because we don't know. We do have Larry Nance back since the last time that I played a Pelicans slate. He actually came back faster than I was expecting. We're going to take Joval back down to 24 minutes and Larry Nance to 24 minutes. We've got 32 for Zion. We've got the CJ starter minutes. We've got the Herb Jones starter minutes. We've got the Brandon Ingram starter minutes, which means that we just got to cut down Najee Marshall, Trey Murphy, not Jose Alvarado, but probably Jose Alvarado. Take Marshall down to 10. We'll take Trey Murphy down to 20. All that pretty easy. I could probably take some time away from Herb Jones. Don't think it matters all that much. Maybe if we take him to 29, we could leave Trey Murphy at 21. See what we get here. So for the Pels, nothing really for New Orleans. Nobody stands out on DraftKings. You would need Zion to be out for the Pelicans today to matter at all for the Pels. Like, look, it's a 5-game slate. You're playing everybody, but no interest in the Pels side here. On the Memphis side, you got Dylan Brooks at 6K. I guess I got to fix Jaren Jackson's salary here. So, yeah, he's Jaren Jackson Jr. in one of these things. And since he hasn't played, I don't have him in my names list. That should help. So, yeah, as we look at this, Dylan Brooks on DraftKings at 6K is my preferred option, not a priority. Dylan Brooks for $5,200 on FanDuel, that is a priority. $800 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. Please get yourself some Dylan Brooks on the FanDuel side. Also, get yourself some John Conchar on FanDuel, 4K. My assumption is he's going to continue to start at the 2 here without Desmond Bane. And if that's the case, shooting guard, small forward, 4,000. It's not a great per minute guy. He's a 0.8 guy, and he's been a little bit worse than that so far this season. But if you assume he's a 0.8 guy right now, 4K is not the worst salary for John Conchar. I don't have a ton of interest in Ja. You know, he's been at 1.4 fantasy points per minute so far this season. That's also where I have him. So, looks fine. Adams is not interesting. I mean, there's no way you're going to like Tyus Jones. I mean, he's unplayable. Aldama, tough to go to. Jaren Jackson's price is probably where it should be. You would need him playing a lot. Not a lot to like in Memphis and New Orleans. First game is kind of ugly. We then go to game number 2. Clippers at Dallas. This is going to be an awful game. We know how slow Dallas plays. 211 total on Clippers Mavs. That's 18 points lower than the game we already talked about. 13 points lower than the next closest game. This is miserable. This is a miserable game to try to get to. The only saving grace here is that I likely won't get as much Reggie Jackson, which is oddly enough a problem because now today will be the day that Reggie Jackson goes crazy in like the worst environment possible. No Kawhi, John Wall back. So, you know, we go to the standard issue 24 minutes to John Wall. Reggie Jackson in games that John Wall does in fact play has averaged 30 minutes a game. We'll take that back down. We got to trim all sorts of playing time here. Robert Covington played way more than he had been playing with Wall out, as did Amir Coffey. Now, clearly that game went a little bit differently. They won by 16. You know, the entire starters never saw the floor again in the fourth quarter. So there's nothing you could really do there for the Clips. The game was just out of hand. John Wall could play 32 minutes. He wouldn't play for the minimum on the Clippers. He would still play out the value of the contract that he didn't deserve when he got it. All right, so we're going to take Terrence Mann's minutes down to 20, I guess. I'm going to assume that Robert Covington just leaves the rotation again. I mean, he wasn't in it for 2 straight games. They were DNP CDs. So that's kind of easy. I'll leave the Zubats minutes in at 31. We'll leave the Marcus Morris minutes in at 32, I guess. You know, because like Marcus Morris played 25 minutes yesterday. If he plays an 8-minute fourth quarter rotation, a pretty standard fourth quarter if it's competitive. That's 32 minutes right there. You know, these guys all played normal-ish stuff. Nick Batum can stay in for 18. Norm Powell seems pretty well in that 24 range. Luke Kennard seems around that 25 range, and that gives me a Clippers rotation. Don't have any other changes that I need to make. We'll look at the Dallas side, which, barring any people being out, this is going to look mostly meaningless. No one's out. So as we look at Dallas, let's see. We get those old JaVale minutes out. Oh, yeah, because I had Christian Wood not in. Christian Wood playing, 25 minutes a game. We got to cut 13 from somewhere. Maxey in for 28. We'll take 2. Dwight Powell is probably looking at, 20. What else do we have here? 33 for Finney Smith. Get 32. Dinwiddie probably up to 33 now, which isn't helpful. Josh Green seems pretty firm around 21. Obviously, the Luka minutes don't change. Reggie Bullock's been so bad this year. We'll take him to 28. Tim Hardaway Jr. can't go any lower than 23. Where do these minutes come from? It's like one guy every game plays less than you would expect. But I got to trim 4 minutes out of Dallas, and I don't know where they come from. Probably Dorian Finney-Smith. Take him to 31. Take Josh Green down another minute. That'll probably do it for Dallas. So for the Mavs, Luka's solid, but 12-8 on DraftKings. I got him at 1.64 FanDuel points per minute for the game, but 12-8 for Luka on DK, 12-4 on FanDuel. Just brutal. Nothing really to like here for Dallas other than Luka. You can make a case for Dinwiddie at 6,700, but he's just like a just shy of fantasy point per minute guy, priced appropriately-ish. There's really nothing to like there for Dallas. On the Clippers side, it's going to be even worse. Yeah. Maybe you go to Zubats at 6,600. He's 6,400 on FanDuel. This game's awful. These first 2 games, man, are really not good. Now, you expect it out of Clippers Dallas. You don't totally expect it out of Grizzlies Pels, but if everybody's healthy for those teams, they just have set up salary structures. Double late night hammer at 10 o'clock will be an interesting way to see out this slate. Let's look at Knicks and Jazz. This is game number 3. This is where we might start seeing something interesting. So, Knicks are 4-point dogs in Utah. 231 total. This is the highest total on the slate by 2 points over the Memphis game, 7 over everything else. So as we look at the Knicks, kind of know what they're doing, but I don't know the status of Mitchell Robinson just yet. He's got one more game to go, so still on the injury report, which means I guess we're going to assume, what did they do on Sunday? Because that's the actual bigger question. My assumption is that they're going to Hartenstein in the starting lineup, and then you get the rest of this normal stuff, but because they seem very uninterested in playing Quentin Grimes at this point for reasons that I don't know. They seem very fixated upon playing Cam Reddish for reasons that I don't totally know. So 33 minutes for Brunson, sure. 34 for Barrett, sure. 34 for Randall, sure. 28 for Hartenstein, yes. Guess I could take some time away from Jericho Sims. They played the straight 48 the last time out. Didn't the time before that. going to take Sims down to 16. Maybe Sims down to 18. There's just... This Knicks team is terrible, man. Truly terrible. Truly, truly terrible. Probably need to go to 26 there. Take Grimes down to 8. I just hate projecting this Knicks team. They're going to look decent as long as there's no real weird pricing quirks. These guys are going to look pretty good just because they get to face Utah. Utah's defense is non-existent. So I think that looks fine for the Knicks rotation. You just kind of got to hope that you get the starter that gets the minutes right. You want to get them on a day like Friday where you get Randall, Barrett, Brunson, Hartenstein all playing 30 plus. Except for when you swap to Hartenstein and get 50% on a day where the field doesn't follow your swap. You get to the best point per dollar play on the slate at a position that makes sense, and he busts in more playing time than you gave him. That is always fun. So thank you to that, Isaiah Hartenstein on Friday. Pay me off when I'm right, please. Utah Jazz. On the Jazz side of this one, everybody's available. So we are going to get this rotation done in a moment's notice. By the way, we are 2 minutes away from the top of the hour. 150 people are in here, 57 likes. If you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, please do so. Would help me out a ton. We love seeing that number hit 100 before the show ends, and usually before 7 a.m. I don't think I'm going to be changing a single thing here for the Jazz. I've got everybody's minutes sort of right where I want them to be, although Malik Beasley is playing more as of late. They are going to Colin Sexton a little bit less than I would have been expecting. That's 26 minutes for Beasley. 3 straight games of 29 minutes for Beasley. Maybe they're playing Vanderbilt a little bit less too. He's averaged 23 minutes. So maybe we take Vandy down to 25. We get Beasley up to 28. That looks good to me. Rates, I don't think I have to change. Although it's probably a decent time to grab the Utah rates again just to give it a quick usage glance. Just because it's a new team. Beasley eating up Sexton's minutes is not that big of a head scratcher. One of those guys is bigger and shoots threes well. The other is smaller and shoots threes well. Floor spacing is good. All right. Markkanen, 24.5% usage. Good. Colin Sexton, 25% usage. Good. Jordan Clarkson, 25% usage. Good. Everybody else just sort of falls into place. That's fine. So yeah, they are as easy as I thought they'd be. Big time assist rate out of Mike Conley. I guess I probably need to deal with that at this point. Major assist rate for Conley. Big one for Clarkson, if we're being honest, too. A little bit less so for Lauri Markkanen. He's not involved in the passing game. Is involved in the rebounding game, however. Kelly Olynyk, not involved in the rebounding game the way that you would expect. I think we're good here on Utah, which means we're also good on New York, which means we could look at this game, and there is a lot to like for Utah. The problem is it all looks very similar. So Markkanen for 7,500 on DK, Clarkson for 6,300, Conley for 5,600, Beasley for 4,200, Colin Sexton for 4,400. I think all 5 of those guys look close to identical. Olynyk and Vanderbilt are both fine. On the FanDuel side, I don't think you want as much Olynyk or Vanderbilt or Sexton. Beasley is massively overpriced on FanDuel. 5,400. The best play you can get to on the FanDuel side is probably Mike Conley. Utah's very much a DraftKings team. On the Knicks end of this one, I think Isaiah Hartenstein is one of the best plays of the day. 28-minute power forward at 4,800. I will be jamming him into lineups. I think Randall, Barrett, and Brunson are all fine. They look a little bit better on FanDuel than they do on DraftKings, except for Randall, who has power forward center eligibility and is 7,500. By far the best game that we've had so far. We go to game number 4, San Antonio Spurs. I mean, this is going to be a mess. They are on a back-to-back. They had a really weird rotation yesterday. So one, we don't have any of their information. They got beat by 40 by the Warriors. Keldon Johnson basically didn't play the second quarter and essentially didn't play the fourth quarter. Or not even essentially, didn't play the fourth quarter. Keldon Johnson played 19 minutes yesterday. Just in general, San Antonio's rotations today are going to be awful. I'm going to make no changes here. None at all. Don't think that I can. I have to assume that they just do whatever it is that they did yesterday. So, there's that. Keep your eyes peeled. Not in any position to make any changes to San Antonio until we get their injury report. We have to just assume. I mean, I don't even know what to do with Trey Jones. That's the really tricky part here. I'm going to leave him out just because he didn't play yesterday, but we don't know what to do with San Antonio, and there's no way for us to know it until they get an injury report. On the Portland side, Portland is pretty standard. Q-tag on Nurk, Q-tag on Winslow, Q-tag on Keon Johnson. So, it's extra special, difficult to put this together. What does the Q-tag on Nurk look like? Right hip adductor. I mean, we have to assume that Nurk is just playing and that this is a full-strength Portland team. So, I have Dame in for 35. I got Simons in for 35. Both of those things seem totally okay to me. 28 minutes to Yusuf Nurkic. Has missed the past 3, but I'm going to leave him in. Which means 14 for Drew Eubanks. I got 36 in for Josh Hart. I got 34 in for Jeremy Grant. Seems fine. Brendan Watford could conceivably leave the rotation if Keon Johnson comes back. Probably doesn't have to. It's all bench run for Winslow, for Sharp, for Watford, for Nas Little. We got this set up. I mean, it all comes down to news here. We don't know if Nurk's going to play. So we can look at this game pretty quickly. If we get the same team we got yesterday for San Antonio, then Josh Richardson on DK, I probably have overprojected, honestly. Yeah, I probably have that overprojected. We would take him down to 26, bump him up. I don't know if you would prioritize anything from San Antonio if they have the same lineup they had yesterday. Johnson, Vassell, Pirtle are all fine on FanDuel. I don't think I would prioritize anything else. I don't think there's a single priority from San Antonio on DraftKings. Not even like a decent play. On the Portland side, kind of like everybody if they're in. Jeremy Grant's probably a bit too expensive on DK now, but like $6,200 Josh Hart, $7,700 Simons. Dame now up to $9K on FanDuel. Still an okay price tag to me. Yusuf Nurkic, if he's playing, $6,900 on DK, $6,600 on FanDuel. Be happy to do that. Kind of like the Portland starters. But again, we've got a lot of question marks on this game in general. Hopefully we get some of that information in the afternoon. We're up to 7:05. So we're 4 games in. We're up to 71 likes. That's almost enough, but don't be afraid to keep hitting that thumbs up button as we get to the final game for today. That will be the Brooklyn Nets. 2-point underdogs in Sacramento, 224 total. For Brooklyn, they are still without Kyrie Irving. Clax is fine. Ben Simmons is questionable. Yuta Watanabe, questionable. Seth Curry is probable. I don't know when the last time I projected Brooklyn. So, well, it had Seth Curry in. That's really not helpful. So, we got Durant in for 36. We've got Royce O'Neal in for 36. Joe Harris in for 30. Feels about right. Seth Curry I've got in for 26. I think that feels right if he's playing. Edmund Sumner probably could take a little bit more. Nick Claxton in for 29. Ben Simmons basically the backup center. I'm going to take Sumner up to 22. Got Cam Thomas in for 25. Those minutes are probably a little high. We'll take him up to 23. They have been playing Markieff Morris, or at least they played Markieff Morris this last game with Ben Simmons out. I don't think he's going to stay in the rotation. I think it's mostly just David Duke or other random guys. Oh, Watanabe is back. That is actually important. Watanabe might actually be a part of this rotation. But I don't know where the hell those minutes come from. Probably just take a bunch of them away from Cam Thomas. Maybe like 2 more away from Patty Mills. All right, so that'll be Brooklyn. And then on the Sacramento side, my guess is that these guys are just pretty easy. I don't remember hearing anything about them. Yeah, everybody's healthy and available for Sacramento. We zipped through this slate, folks. Fox, 35 minutes. Honestly, it's probably too many, but it'll work. 32 to Kevin Huerter. Yeah. 32 to Harrison Barnes. Yeah. 30 to Keegan Murray. Yeah. 33 to Doma. Yeah. Everything else is backup run to random people. Yes. For Sacramento, they look better on DraftKings than they do on FanDuel. They honestly don't look great on FanDuel. This is a hard slate. There is not a lot out there to like. But De'Aaron Fox is your best option. 8,800 on both sites. Sabonis is okay on DK at 9,200. He's such a major threat for the double-double. But, man, that's like at the tippy top of his price. Even at a 1.28 to 1.3 fantasy point per minute guy. Just center eligible is so tough on DraftKings. I like Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter for value options, 4,700 and 5,400. Not a lot to like, though, from Sacramento. And then on the Brooklyn side, you know, KD's 11-2 or 11-3. That's pretty desirable in comparison to getting to Luka's price tag. Claxton for 5,900 on DraftKings seems very, very reasonable. 6,400 on FanDuel for Claxton, also very reasonable. I think you can get to Royce O'Neal and Joe Harris just because they are the guys that play the minutes. But this is a really hard 5-game slate, at least at this moment. Very hard 3-game slate. Let's go ahead and run a crunch and see what this looks like. I'm guessing the optimal lineup on FanDuel is gross. I mean, we've only got 2 guys above 46 fantasy points. This is going to be really bad at the bottom. All right, optimals on FanDuel. Luke, so this is 325.21. This is the optimal by 1.45. Yeah, one and a half fantasy. This is how tough this slate is. The optimal lineup is 1.5 points away from the second best lineup. Luka, Mike Conley, Vassell, Dylan Brooks, Keldon Johnson, John Conchar, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein, Yusuf Nurkic if he plays. It's just a lot of guys that you don't trust. It's really gross. Power rankings on FanDuel. Another thing that I do not feel comfortable with. This is pretty gross. Okay, power rankings on FanDuel. Dylan Brooks 1, Isaiah Hartenstein 2, Luka, Dame, Brandon Ingram round out the top 5. Barrett, Hart, Conley, Durant, Randall round out the rest of the top 10. But look at how flat this is. Dylan Brooks is at 30% here, basically. Keldon Johnson's at 20. That's 20 guys, I think. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Yeah, it's basically 20 guys in a very minimal step down through the slate. Everybody looks the same. This is a lineup construction day more than anything. Now, let's check out DraftKings. This one might look a little bit different. Luka projects differently there, but he was already in the optimal, so the hell do I know? Optimal lineups on DK. Jazz season. This is the optimal by 0.37. Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, Dylan Brooks, Zion if he plays, Isaiah Hartenstein still, which is crazy, Mike Conley, Lauri Markkanen, and Nick Claxton. So balanced build. Nobody more expensive than 8,700 Zion, who's questionable, I might add. And we go to the power rankings on DK. Very flat once again, even on the DraftKings side. Such a difficult slate, guys. So difficult. Anthony Simons looking like the top guy. Nope. Got tied up by Mike Conley. So it's Conley and Simons. Has Conley been any good lately? No, real ass. Okay, so that's the appeal. You know, he was 6K. He dropped these 36-point games back to back. Lakers, Clippers, Lakers. 36 fantasy points for Mike Conley. At 5,600, his 5x plus 10 is 38. You can see him getting to that target score on a 5-gamer. So I do find Conley with a slightly reduced price to be interesting. He's 2 for 15 in his last 2 games. You just need that to correct itself. Like Mike Conley tonight, Anthony Simons, De'Aaron Fox, Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson. Those are your top 5. Barrett, Herter, Sexton, Hart, and Randall. There is your top 10. Guys, we made it through in 45 minutes. We almost got to 100 likes, but I'll take what I can get. A reminder, I will not be here tomorrow. No process show, no contenders, nothing from me whatsoever. I will be back again on Thursday, but that's where we're at to start the day. You'll get me on the strategy show today. You get me on the deeper dive from 5:30 to 6:30. This is not an easy slate. It really isn't. Looks about as hard as anything that we've seen as of late. Let's take it back to the full screen. Do our goodbyes. Guys, thanks for being here. But without any major news, it's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a really difficult slate. I'm excited for that. I hope you guys are as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you to BetMGM for being the sponsor. What's up, Toasted Biscuits? Glad to have you here. If you guys haven't yet, hit the like button on your way out the door. I'm going to get out of here. Light, easy morning. Don't got to stress too much before the 10 o'clock. NBA strategy show. So thank you for being here, guys. This was the process.